what are some ideas for new operations you want to see? With 2 new operations after this one, what would you want to see in the coming ops from the years to come? All right, so as far as I know, I believe we might have 3 new operations to look forward to for the rest of the year, but I think they still need to confirm that. Not to mention the roadmap in itself is not complete for year 2. I think it's mostly complete, but we will still have to see what they have in store for the later half of year 2. But yeah, not to mention, obviously the devs talked about the operation we're getting. So Reclamation is operation number 11, and yes, the devs talked about the spaceship operation before. So with the next few operations, the devs definitely need to basically take a step up in the intensity within the background story and everything like that. It feels like every new operation, the stakes get a little bit higher, which is pretty interesting. I like to see that. And not to mention, we're going to get more enemies as well. You can see the pink guys right here, the pink horrors. That would have been kind of cool to see if they end up adding these guys. This whole image is kind of sick, dude. I like to see that. But yeah, anyway. When we are getting some new operations, the stakes are going to be a little bit higher, so I'm definitely pretty curious of what people want to see. I mean, dude, the next operation is already going to feel very intense. We're going to have two boss fights at the end. Well, it's technically a tag team, right? So, regardless, I bet you there's going to be a lot going on with that fight. Man, I really wish we were able to test it before it releases, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm excited to see it regardless. Man, dude, look at the sorcerer on the disc right here. This image is sick, dude. But yeah, see, when we get new operations, they're definitely going to add some new enemies and stuff, so I'm curious to see what people want. And yeah, I think there's more than enough room to fit in a lot, to be honest. If there's 2 new operations, that's still fine, but I think we should be getting 3. If I remember correctly, we should be getting 14 operations in total for the end of year 2, but I could be wrong. But yeah, let's see what people want. And I'm very excited to see what the devs cook up because, yeah, it seems like consecutively, whenever they add a new operation, for whatever is going on in the background, for the story or the plot or whatever, the stakes keep rising. So potentially we're going to see even more dangerous enemies. Some things I'd be keen for: a mission on that broken down Titan on Demirium, have our squad go save a Death Watch squad who went missing on Kadaku. That would be cool. Titus from the intro, that'd be cool. Invasion on the battle barge. Dude, honestly, this second idea is so good. But here's the thing, it would be kind of confusing a little bit because we couldn't use our operation characters, right? Wouldn't we have to use different characters to go save Titus in the intro? I don't know. Regardless, that's actually an interesting idea. Invasion on the battle barge. Wow. Okay, hold on. Dude, okay, this guy is cooking. I like to see this. Dude, that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Dude, honestly, if it comes to saving a Death Watch member, I think it'd be cool if it's just a new character. That would be kind of cool to see. I mean, honestly, it doesn't even have to be Death Watch. I think with operations, there's so much room to add in like a new character, and perhaps maybe it's a character that could be relevant for Space Marine 3 or something. So yeah, dude, honestly, when it comes to new operations, low-key, I kind of want to see them introduce some new characters or new story that might transfer over to Space Marine 3. However, I could see them not doing that until they're ready to release Space Marine 3, so it could be a long time for them to think of anything like that. That would be interesting. This idea, though, of saving Titus in the intro is such a good idea. Like, I really wish they were able to do something like that. But obviously, we would have to play different characters, right? I believe. I'm actually not 100% sure who saved Titus, to be honest. But yeah, regardless, this would be pretty cool. If I'm wrong, if we could just have this be an operation, that would be cool. I'd be down for that. I'd be down to play Decimus running into, the wave of Tyranids to save Titus. That would be sick, man. As we got a flying Xenos Terminus, maybe it's time for a Chaos Terminus, a flying one. Screw that rune matching game and let us deal with the Helldrake ourselves with Dreadnought support or something. Oh, I see. So yeah, we don't need any sort of objectives to take out a flying Terminus Chaos enemy. I think that's interesting for sure. I mean, obviously Chaos is going to get a new Terminus at some point because, yeah, dude, with Chaos right now, I think the only thing that is actually difficult to deal with right now, at least for me personally, is Chaos Spawn, like 100%. Like Chaos Spawn seriously makes every situation worse. If there's a Hellbrute spawn, I'm not too concerned about it, to be completely honest. It depends, because yeah, let's say you're in an enclosed area. If you're out in the open against a Hellbrute, it's very easy to just roll around him, and he's very predictable. You go for the parries, you roll out of the way of his AoE attacks. But if you don't have enough room to roll away out of the AoE attacks, then the Hellbrute can get pretty spicy. So, yeah, when it comes to a new Chaos Terminus enemy, a flying one is interesting. I'm not too sure if they need to fly, but yeah, I've seen some people mention that they want to see a new Chaos Terminus. Dude, I'm just not too sure what they would end up picking, you know? So we will see, though. I'm definitely excited for them to add in new operations and continuously raise the stakes. So whatever they add in has to be either tantamount or even towering over the, you know, the Vortex Beast. More operations with Tyranids and Chaos at each other's throats. Yes, this sort of element is very cool to see. It basically just makes you feel like the world you are going through when you're playing these missions feels alive, at least to me. Makes it very immersive. If the devs can find an appropriate mission for Tyranids and Chaos to be fighting each other, I think it just feels very cool, because yeah, you just kind of feel like you walked in on a battle, and not to mention you have your own mission to get through. So it's kind of a unique element to either you can skip these fights, you know, the Tyranids versus Chaos fights, or you can jump in them. It's just cool. It's just a unique element. Same thing goes for the guardsmen, in Decapitation, when they, mention when you roll up into that part of the, the operation, when they say Astartes, that part is, it's sick. It's sick. We need more of that. Like anything where they introduce a new character or introduce battles that haven't been in other operations, anything like that, any sort of cool voice lines really do go a far way. I think in Exfiltration, the Trigon Prime mission, a lot of the voice lines there honestly do age very well, because there's so many good voice lines in that mission. There's a lot of talking, but there's also a lot of fighting. So yeah, it's really hard to catch all of the dialogue on your first playthrough. So it's always fun to go back on other missions and then catch some dialogue you haven't seen before. I think when it comes to Tyranids and Chaos fighting each other, it definitely needs to be a perfect setting for that. Like for the mission where this happens is Vox Libertas, which is pretty cool, because the part where you see the Chaos and Tyranids fight each other, effectively, you could skip that room, which is pretty interesting. So they can be a bit of a distraction, but also it can make the fight pretty spicy when you jump in and fight Tyranids and Chaos. Like there's one time where I saw a Terminator was fighting a Bone Sword warrior, and I kind of wanted to watch that fight, to be honest, even though the Terminator should have won, but it is pretty interesting. Was shocked it took this long for a ship boarding mission. Doubly shocked that we haven't had a boarding a hive ship operation. So as far as I know about the hive ship, and yeah, an operation that revolves around it, that would definitely be like the highest stakes imaginable, at least for Tyranids. Yeah, because the hive ship, obviously, we've talked about this before, and it seems like a lot of people aren't convinced that this is a mission that our squad could handle. And honestly, I think that's a fair point to make. The devs would have to make the circumstance for that operation very perfect, 100%. It would have to feel like we were able to actually, compete with the hive ship. This is going to be interesting. I'm not too sure if the devs are going to do this, but I've heard a lot of people talking about the Norn emissary and how it's probably outside of the power of our main squads. However, we did deal with the Vortex Beast, the Mutalith Vortex Beast. We did deal with that. That's actually a pretty good feat, dude. Like, honestly, the fact that our squad was able to take out an enemy of that capacity, like, as far as what I've heard about it, it's pretty impressive, 100%. We've long since crossed these are jobs for Elite Deathwatch Grey Knight kill teams, not 3 Ultramarine tiers, so really the gates have flung open. So I do think our squad is definitely supposed to be a tier above just 3 Ultramarines. We did talk about this before. They're definitely tougher than a common Ultramarine, 100%. Elite Deathwatch Grey Knight tier is pretty interesting, though, to be completely honest. Yeah, I mean, We will see. We will see. I like taking out strong things. I like the fact that the operations we play in this game actually kind of push some of the accuracy for the lore, but in the way that it makes it feel satisfying. Like, for example, the Hive Tyrant, right? The Hive Tyrant was injured, and we caught it pretty much with its guard down, essentially, because it's just weakened. But still, yeah, we jumped on the Hive Tyrant in a circumstance that felt appropriate. Now, the Mutoleth the Vortex Beast, I feel like, was a stronger enemy than the Hive Tyrant, but we kind of fought that, like, at full power. So, it's interesting. It's interesting. Maybe the characters, we are playing a Space Marine 2, maybe they're going to show up in another story at some point, and wouldn't it be cool if Straybon actually was in a story, like, years from now, and he, like, shows up randomly, it's like a surprise reveal, and he just, like, mows down a very tough enemy? Dude, that would be sick. That would be super cool. I would love to see that at some point. I think when it comes to, like, books and everything, I think I'm kind of eyeing the Deathwatch book, but yeah, they're a little bit more expensive than I thought, so we will see. I definitely want to pick up like a legitimate handheld book, not, you know, the reading on your phone type books. But yeah, regardless, that's neither here or there. Yeah, but still, this guy does bring up a good point about the level of the operations we are taking, because yeah, dude, when we are getting new operations, the devs definitely need to make sure that the stakes get at least a little bit higher. I think they've been doing a great job with that, to be completely honest. Every new operation raises the stakes just enough to where it feels like we can compete at that level. But then, yeah, you see when we, you know, actually go back and look at the operations, it's like, huh, we needed to weaken the Hive Tyrant, but we took out the Mutoleth Vortex Beast at full power. That's pretty interesting. And you have to consider the Trigon Prime, we also had artillery, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, I mean, when it comes to new operations, I'm definitely just interested for the devs to raise the stakes. I'm not too sure if the Hive ship is within the realm of what they want to achieve, but it's possible. It's definitely possible. Like, to jump in onto a Hive ship, we really just need the perfect circumstance to make it feel at least a little bit lore accurate. But yeah, we will see. We will see. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this. Let me know in the comments if you guys have any ideas for operations and any ideas that you want to see in operations. But yeah, there's a lot of good ideas, man. There's a lot of good ideas. Some people are still talking about Gene Stealers, and yeah, that would be cool. So I've seen Death Leapers mentioned a lot here. A lot of Tyranid suggestions. Not too many Chaos suggestions, but yeah, we will see. We will see. But regardless, let me know in the comments how you guys feel about this, and thanks for watching.